Check, check, check. Oh, there we go. There we go. Music City, how y'all doing today? Oh, I think we could do better than that. Music City, how y'all doing today? There we go, there we go, there we go. How was Big Piph? Yeah, there we go, there we go. I go by the name of Jasper Logan. I work at KUAF, the local NPR radio station. I do community engagement there. Also started this program called The Lunch Hour, and that's what this is you guys are experiencing. The pairing of food and music to a point where we get to experience both of those, the two things that bring people together, food and music, right? I'm happy to have my brother Big Piph here today. Make some noise for Big Piph. So part of this is the performance and then a conversation between myself and Big Piph where you guys will get to know him a little bit better. All of this is being recorded. You might see some cameras everywhere. All this is being recorded, and it'll be on our YouTube page, social media, but it'll also be on NPR live sessions. So you can go to npr.com or npr.org, I think it's .com, /live sessions, and this will be on there. You might see yourself on there, and some of the camera angles as well. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to get into this interview. Man, I want to say, that's the first, I want to start with, since we're here at this big global music conference, you're no stranger to global and music. You've been traveling around the world doing music programs. Tell us a little bit about some of the work that you've done with music and around the world.
Yeah. So it started in 2012. I'm actually what's called a cultural ambassador. So I actually go to different under-resourced areas across the world and do hip-hop programming in those communities for like 2 to 4 weeks, right? It started in 2012. I actually was just emceeing, and then a friend hit me up on like Facebook, like, do you want to come to Gambia and like do this program? And I responded like, hell yeah, if y'all paying for it. She didn't respond for a year, and then she like straight up hit me up again. I just copied and pasted my previous response. But that time, like within about 3 months, I was over in the West African country of Gambia, Banjul, and then started doing programming. And since then, I've now done 15 countries. Most recently, the Philippines and Ghana and Myanmar and Australia. And it's cool, yeah. So it's a thing of, because a lot of people confuse MCing or rapping with all of hip-hop, as opposed to like the hip-hop culture, the 4 elements, and also the large community element that first started with hip-hop. So like community was always a part of hip-hop culture. And so I just try to like bring that over there. So it's like you'll go over there and you'll see these communities who use hip-hop as a means of communication, rebellion, for the economies, and it's kind of like us coming over there as partners, not to say, hey, this is how to do it, but more so, can we learn from y'all, and also, can you learn from us, and we both grow from it, yeah.
2 questions out of that. One, what does the day in, day out look like? Like, what does the program look like? You go to these places, set up shop, what does that look like? And then, out of that, what's been some interesting things you've learned in some of these different places, checking out these communities, being engulfed in the community and the art culture scene?
For sure. So like the first one, so I played on 2 sides. So sometimes I'm just there as an artist, and if I'm an artist, essentially you have a 2-week program, and you just get to know the MCs and where they're at their level and what they want to learn, and I just form a curriculum for it. So it's essentially, whether it's like the technical aspects, whether it's communication aspects, whether it's more of like how to book shows. So I'll come with spreadsheets and tell them like just, hey, this is how I finance everything, or this is how I make sure everything's on track. And at the end, they have a concert, and they have a concert in front of, they partner with their local government, and they have a concert for like anywhere from 200 to sometimes been like 2,000 people. Wow. Yeah. And then we come with about a certain, we come with like, I think about $3,000 to $5,000 worth of equipment, and then we just kind of give them all the equipment. So we decide like which organization most needs it, and then we do that. And then I normally stick around a little bit more because I like beaches and eating other people's food, and then I come back to the crib, yeah.
What's something that like you've learned from some of the communities or from some of the people there?
Something that I've learned. That cultural exchange is about like listening. So it's like if there's a respect in the sense of you care about how we do things or a little about our culture. So it's like, I've seen different programs where they come in first and it's more or less like, we've been successful, this is how you do it, follow our blueprint, right? those may work on paper, but they like disintegrate soon after because the people go back to like how they were getting before, or they actually sometimes the real curators and the artists feel kind of like disrespected because they're like, we've been doing this, you come here for like a quick trip and leave. So for me, it's always the thing I learned and continue to learn is just the craft and art of listening. So it's just there, the first, when I'm a site manager, I actually go beforehand to set it up for the rest of the artists. And it's literally just going through local communities and sitting in on their events and talking to the people, understanding where they think they might need some assistance, understanding things that like they feel they can share with us. So it's just that listening and understanding there is no like one size fits all, but more so if I pay attention and we listen and learn, we'll see how we can play a part.
That's really interesting. We talked a little bit about this over there, but thinking about Piph, he was younger, wanting to be a rapper, was being in sort of a community, a cultural ambassador, going overseas, helping teaching kids like music. Was that in the sort of framework of being a rapper as well?
Of like young Piph? Nah, bro. Like, so I had no desire whatsoever to rap. So I mean, and I think you know a little bit, but like, my mom. So I don't know if you could be black and a tiger mom, but she tried. She tried to adapt. Maybe my mom was culture appropriating tiger moms, but my mom was like big on academia, and so I went to school in the Bay.
Yeah.
Right. I went to school at Stanford and got an ME, BS in mechanical engineering.
Yeah. Make some noise for that. Not too many rappers go to Stanford. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So I had no desire to rap until my junior year. So I basically didn't choose to rap to my junior year in college because I was trying to get over. I had three big fears at the time: swimming. I was a stereotype. My bad. Talking to like ladies I found appealing, I would like hyperventilate, and then public speaking. So I just entered a talent show to public speak with like subpar bars. My bars were mid, like they weren't bad. I did it once, did it twice, and actually like fell in love with the performance aspect. I always was like a hip hop fan, and then I tricked my life away, and now here we are, talking to you, Jasper. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mom for riding with it.
What was that conversation like? Did you finish at Stanford?
Yeah, I got it.
Did you finish at Stanford?
Yeah, I got like the degree.
And then you told moms I want to be a rapper.
Nah. So it was worse than that. So I had to like strategize. So I had to talk to my parents differently, and because it was like my mom wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy, and then like I rock with Jesus or something. So I was like, hey, Mom. I was gonna say a bad joke, but like, yeah. So I talked to my mom and told her like how it was not just me on a women fancy, but what I saw for myself and what I wanted to do within the craft, right? And her response was silence for like 3 hours, and then her response was something like, "I don't think you're crazy, and I don't think God's abandoned you," or something like that. Like something that was real, like exorcist conjuring, like. And then she was kind of like, it was a slow conversation after that building. My dad was real business minded, so I told him like, hey, here's my 3-year outlook or whatever. He doesn't admit this now because my dad, they periodically ask me like, what are you doing, boy? But at the same time, my mom, I perform with a live 7-piece band a lot of times, and my mom comes like all the shows, and my dad's cool with it. But like, I was gonna apply to grad school, and he told me that the type of mentality I have, I would go hard at grad school and like leave this vision behind. So he's like, I'm not sure that's what you want to do. He claims he didn't say that, but my dad convinced me not to go to grad school. Because I was fronting. I didn't really want to go. I was just doing it to kind of like ease them into it. So yeah, so my parents, it took them, the way I describe it is, they were as realistic as possible without being crazy. Like they literally definitely pressured and questioned me or whatever. But at the end of the day, they was like, hey, you got a plan. We believe in you. We support you. And then, and my mom probably did like some heavy prayers or something like that. But like, yeah, it was cool.
So you're on this music journey. You incorporate this community aspect into it. And then recently, you've added another layer of film and television. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about, I guess, from two ways. So for me, and this is part of what I told my parents, like I love hip hop, all the aspects of the culture, and it actually like helped me become a better person. But also my vision in it was how it could move communities. Like straight up from day one, the first time I got in a cypher, and that's like a freestyle session in the circle, I saw like all barriers were dropping, communication was just open because we had this thing called hip hop. So for me, hip hop was also this thing of a threefold thing. It was like, one, just from a straight up economic standpoint, it's like if you make a fly rap about like ketchup and it goes triple platinum, then like you're gonna find other people start rapping about like mustard and sauerkraut. Like that's just how the game works. So it's like one from the standpoint of just from a capitalistic society, they emulated. Another was because I was seen as like hip hop and entertainment seen as somewhat affectionate and cool. It allowed me to get indoors with people who otherwise I couldn't get into, right? So I was able to have conversations with a lot of community change makers who would argue, as some other people argue, I was underqualified, but because had that like cool spark factor, I was allowed to do that. And then it was just the fact of at the time when I started rapping, I saw how big like the influence was, and I realized like I could have that impact. So from my very beginning, it was this is how we could do it to get a seat at the table. In 2012, when I started doing the overseas stuff, I started thinking more so from the standpoint of like, forget the big table, let's build ours, like our own, right? So it's like, forget getting asked to the big table. After that time, I've been to so many communities, both in the States and abroad, where it's like there's tons of people doing dope stuff in the music industry, not in the music, but on the local independent level, we can figure out our own thing. So to talk about like the film aspect, I always had the idea of like what like an independent production company looks like that could have entertainment aspect, but also directly cross with like community change. And so like that's kind of what I do.
So I gotta ask about the TV show, Unfinished Business, right? Or was it? What was the name of it?
So the one you was in?
Yeah, the one that I was in.
Right, Far From Finished.
Far From Finished.
Yeah,
Far From Finished. You did that first one. Can you walk us through a little bit of Far From Finished? A full season of how many episodes? Was it 7, 8?
Yeah.
8 episodes. Walk us a little bit through Far From Finished, what it is, the concept, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it came from the standpoint.
And will we get a season 2?
Hey, I'll let you. Yeah, for sure. The concept came from a real simple thing of one. I'm big on like if I have visions doing something, just try it out. Like so, I wanted to learn how to write better and also implement in these music aspects. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna make this album and joint with like this web series. The second aspect is, and I'm a big advocate of this. I'm not sure it's the best business model, but my thing is like if you make something that's standoutish enough. I described it like this in the show. It's like if someone outside just like lit fireworks, a lot of people would come and check. Most people would leave, but one or two may stick around and be like, how can we do that again? So this was like my thing of, let me create this. Some people gonna pay attention and somebody will see a vision of, maybe not that exactly, but how can we do that? So after we did it, shout out to you being in it, man, for believing in the brother. After we did it, like I got hit up from the Wall Family Foundation. It was like, oh, we saw that show you did. We don't want that because that was a little bit crazy, but like, can you do something similar like that for us in our style? So literally, that was the thing. It was like people enjoyed it, were entertained, but other people saw the value in it, and then they were like, let's emulate it for us, and that led to me doing something in Atlanta for like a Stop Cop City, and then I did another one working on now with the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, doing about change makers. Actually, shout out Karen. I interviewed her. I see you. What's up, Cameo? You know what I'm saying? So that came with the change makers. And so it was like from that, which was a personal investment in a project, came these other things. And now leaves me more room to do other projects like that. 'Cause I have a thing of like, I always keep a creative project that makes me grow as an artist and a man outside of my personal finances, because that just helps me feel how I want to feel. And then once it's done, I would like for it to be profitable, but then it goes into like a business pool, and then I do another one, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's kind of like my thing all the time. It's like, do this work, but always have this because I feel my best when I'm like doing my own creative thing. And be at peace, even if it bombs, the process was worth it. You know what I'm saying? Now, we don't play for it to bomb. Like, hopefully it hits some way and we do more stuff, but that's just kind of how I do stuff. Yeah.
You have a lot of like internal processes that you use to sort of like get your ideas out and to try ideas. Where did that come from?
Man, I ain't got no friends. Nah, true. Let's see. Where'd it come from? Man, so actually, strangely enough, like this, I wasn't even thinking about this. So literally, it was the arts that messed me up. When I really got into hip hop and movies at the same time, I was just like, there were certain movies that I was astounded by, like what they did and how they did it and pulled it off. And in particular, in terms of like two stories, this is like now going on a hella tangent, so luckily you could tell me when to cut it off. But like there was two movies in particular. So my three favorite movies of all time are Malcolm X, Shawshank, and Seven, right? And so in Seven and Shawshank, they both have this ending where it's like this guy plotted all this stuff and it was able to work. Spoiler, my bad. They like 20 years old, so if y'all ain't seen it, that's on you. But like, you know what I'm saying? They did this ultimate plot and they figured it out. And in my head, and then like a hip hop would hear like, because I first was a big Suave House down south dude, and I moved heavily to the East Coast, like in terms of like Nas and Biggie, whatever. And it was all like these intricate plots where I heard how it was made. So for me, I just thought like you could strategize stuff and figure out how to make it. And also one of the reasons I love hip hop was like, here was this community at one point in time that was the ghetto and the overlooked people or disenfranchised people, and disco era was big at the time. They was like, forget everything y'all got going, we gonna create our own thing, and we don't care if y'all pay attention or not, we're gonna do this. And it was so dope that the world paid attention to it. So like hip hop for me in of itself was something that was like, we just gonna do it because we're gonna tell our own story because nobody cares about these black and brown girls and boys out here. And it was so dope, people paid attention to it and then jabbed on. So my whole thing was like, I'll do my own thing with people I want to work with, and it'll be so dope somebody I pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying?
That makes a lot of sense.
And I ain't got no friends.
The music seems to be like kind of at the core of this, and it seemed like, at least from my point of view, from like social media, and whenever we get a chance to our paths cross, there was a point where you lean more heavy into the community, more heavy into the film, and the music kind of took a step back. But now it seems like music is coming back to the forefront, and so I'm curious what has sparked that, and then what does that look like in the next coming months, years for you? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it hit a point originally when I first started rapping, I was like, it needs to look like this. My career needs to look like how all these megastars live. After 2012, when I did my first overseas project, and that became a regular thing, that's when the community became involved, and I was like, I want my career to be these two things involved together. Then it hit a point where it was like, you know, because hip-hop still being the youngest form of music, it was like at a point it was like, you're not supposed to rap past this age and stuff like that. And then I was like, dude, that's baffling to me because like I just like making music. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to make music. So it just was, I can still have ambitions and do things like I want to do in terms of performances and create without these other pressures. So in terms of why it's coming back now is I intake a lot of media and not even just media, just conversations and observe life. And after a while, ideas start forming. And for me, it's like, what's the best way to depict it? Now, I thought I was kind of done with albums. I might just do singles here and there. But it was like an album kept forming, and there was a few albums that I heard. There's a lot of people I respect who are doing things, such as yourself as an MC, as a person. And the only way to see how to form it was like as an album. So like, unfortunately, I'm making an album, man.
So there is another Big Piph album coming.
Yeah, I'm still not.
Let's go. We can make some noise for that. New Big Piph music. When was the last full album you released?
Last album I did, man, it was several years ago. Like I think it was before Rona, maybe. Yeah, something like that. Has this album that is forthcoming, has it been churning since then, or like has something recently sparked it that was like, all right, I see the connection? It was just this year, man. So it's like I like expressing myself through a lot of just creative means. So it's like studio production, studio show with you, stuff like that. Just as of lately, it's heard enough MCs, saw enough stuff. I have a lot of song ideas, and I have like a firm idea of the perspective I want on it, right? And then also like some of it is I went back and checked out all my old catalog, and like there's some highs, but there's some parts like I didn't do that as well. So also I've ranked like my top 3 albums to myself, and I just internally competitive, I want to beat it. I was like, I could do better than that. Not that they were slaw. It was just the fact of, I don't know, man, I started hating myself. I was like, not hating myself. I mean, like I wanted to compete with my old self, right? So it's like, this is dope, and I know he was rapping from that mindset. This mindset has not been tapped into that I see in the world, and that's for myself. I think it was fun to create a project to do that and also still combine visuals and other things like that. So it's just a fun process of like, I'm my best self when I'm creating these things. And it came time again to create these things as music again. So I just rock with it, man.
I don't know if everybody has, but I've been like privy to see your like mad scientist process of like creating things and how you go from like sticky notes and like little sections to like, it's crazy. It gets real crazy. So I'm curious, is that same process applied to like music, albums, songs as well, or is that just reserved for the film, TV, writing side, or?
Nah, it's like anything in life, man. I have a homeboy. Yeah, I have a homeboy. He's like, hey, the problem with you is like, you're weird, but you don't present weird, so people get fooled at first. But yeah, and I have another friend, she calls it my serial killer wall. But like, yeah, I just have it all, like it's all crazy until it makes sense, right? So it's kind of one of those things of, it's ready for the world when I can state it concisely as this is this. But it's like first these ideas that connect and all these things. So that's just like how my brain works. And like, I love the process. I love the process of like, you create this thing almost from like nothing, right? And it means something to you and the people encounter it. And so it's just kind of like the thing of getting to filter out and feel what you're actually trying to say and the feelings you're trying to create. And so for me, it's the serial killer wall, man. So, you know, but I do a lot digitally now, man. I'm trying to save a tree.
Okay, bet. I'm going to ask this last question. Since we're here at the Music City Conference, man, there's probably maybe one or two, a few artists here. Any advice that you would give to an artist that's here looking for that next step, anything, any little bit of encouragement, whatever?
Yeah. The thing I always go by is just like action breeds clarity. So I know artists think about stuff all the time, like I'm gonna go about it this way and this way and this way, but then they never do the thing the way they're thinking, right? So there's kind of like, there's a thing like minimal viable product, right? So it's like, if I'm trying to figure out if I want to do something, it's like, what's something I could do in the next 6 months that's an example of this? And then when it's done, how do I feel about it, right? As opposed to like, just thinking about it and be like, okay, then you try it and invest like 3 years worth of time and get 2 years in and realize that's not what you want to do. So for me, it's just like, here's an idea. What's the easy way to test that? So for me, it was like, hey, I think I like writing. Let me make this web series, right? So it's like, now, I should have made it even smaller, but it was like, let me write this web series on the simplest form possible, put it out into the world and see how I feel. And from that, I realized I hate acting. Like, I'm not big on acting. I do like producing, though, in terms of shows. So it's like, from that, I gained, this is how I can become a better writer. I like doing these things. But until, I could have never thought my way to that, right? I could have never just sit and say, yeah, so action breeds clarity, and then just like do a project that's small that allows you to see what you need to see in it and then keep moving on. Like, that's rinse, wash, and repeat, man.
Make some noise for Big Piph, everybody. Thank you, man. Thank you all for coming to Music City Conference and for being part of KUAF's The Lunch Hour. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you.